to rolling in on Cascade Range. So this was
Oh,
Pete's pick.
I wasn't recording, but you just heard the tail end of that conversation. Game two, Cascade Range. Uh, Pete picked the map. Carry on. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Pete just lost the last one, and so he got to pick the map and do the counter pick. And it looks like Vindian chose Japan. This is Cascade Range, so maybe can you go to No Law Fog of War? It's a really interesting map. You've got two side pawns, you've got four TPs in the middle, no actual trade posts, but sorry, all native posts. A lot of center resources to fight over, and kind of like a choke point. This is a very aggressive map that tends to favor brawling early. And with less resources, booming civs tend not to be as powerful. What do you think about, though, Pete picking France on a map with no TPs?
France feels like it might be a little bit of a comfort pick, um, for Pete here. Yes, they can use they're best known for their trade post play, but I don't really think it is going to impact him that much. But I guess that's just my 2 cents as someone who's not doesn't really have a ton of experience as a France main. I mean, there's a lot of good treasures on this map, and that'll help make up for it. The Guardians and whatnot. So
And the two natives are Nootka, and I'm going to butcher this one, but Klamath.
Klamath, yeah, I don't
Klamath.
know. I am not sure. You
Yeah,
cannot
no,
quote
no,
either of us on that.
right. No disrespect to, I assume there's some sort of Salish tribe, but or Pacific Northwest. But anyways, what do you think about those two natives? The clubmen and the riflemen. What does that add to France's roster, and is it worth getting for them?
The Nuka Clubman is a very very powerful unit when microed correctly. So I definitely would expect, especially France is known for its native rush. So these two civs in a native rush could turn out to be fairly deadly. As we'll take a look, land 1v1. No, he does have wilderness warfare. It's pretty typical France. Maybe a couple more H2 cards, but we will not be seeing a native rush. So I guess we won't be we won't have to worry about that from the France player, unfortunately.
Right. What about Japan? So this is more your wheelhouse, since I mainly know about Japan is you rush them down quickly before they take off. Uh, with what is going on here, what's your kind of thoughts on Vindian's opening?
Uh, Again, round one. I'm not sure if this is a specifically crafted deck for this tournament, but we see good faith agreements. Vindian is a huge fan of this card. I don't know why. Heavenly Kami has also seemed to have fallen out of favor as your first Age 1 card, uh, in favor of two villagers, or even, there's enough fish on here to ship three fishing boats to one pond and then five fishing boats in the next pond. Heavenly Kami, after building a consulate and aging up with the Toshogu Shrine with, let's turn his Fog of War on. Only one shrine in the corner. That doesn't seem like seems to not be a great start, but everything else is. I mean, this is fairly typical of like a last year's Japan build so far.
Okay, and he can go Portugal probably to open with the boats.
Portugal for the boats, yes. In obviously the non-coin, or sorry, the non-food. No, it's non-coin discount. It's been a minute. Uh, so these shrines are going to cost 75 wood a pop, which really starts getting the shrine eco going for Japan. As we pop over to PistolPete, who has also done a fairly solid bit of exploring, is going to take this Klamath settlement, it looks like. Yep, there it is. We may see natives yet, Pete. We may see natives yet.
Well, and Pete, he's pretty famous, I think, for using even legacy natives. There's kind of a general, I don't want to say consensus because lots of people will use native posts occasionally, but of really making the most out of it to kind of blossom or to make his roster more rounded out. Like France already has a well-rounded one, but there's a huge difference of having a true skirm unit in Age 2 versus just the crossbows. So, you know, this could really help him kick off a very powerful rush that Vindian may struggle with because Naginata are his only answer to these skirms in H2.
We see Vindian seems to be selling out entirely for shrines, which is not unusual, but against a France player that he has seen now has taken a trade post, a native post, that would be almost imperative if I were Vindian. Again, yeah, with some Klamath riflemen coming in to build a barracks or some sort of military training, as he doesn't quite get any villagers here. Is going to have to back off, I think. These riflemen, yeah, they'll take 2 shots to go down right now. Next,
You know, he's idling that eco, and Japan's already a bit slow to start. So the longer that these riflemen are prowling around the perimeter of Indian's base, this can become a problem because, again, you know, Japan, those shrines take time to pay off, and while their eco can be idled, I think better than other civs can because Japan is Japan. It will start to wear down.
I mean, that's a very good job to idle Vindian's eco, you know, before the 6-minute mark, even to get those riflemen up before 6 minutes. Idle, you know, a good 10 plus villagers, force Vindian to respond. I mean, he responded by just, you know, TC fire, which was enough for the riflemen. But the barracks is going up. You know, it's going to be past 7 minutes before any forces get out on the Vindian side. Some more raiding parties coming in. Again,
He's getting out. It looks like Vindian's taken native post. So this is an interesting play. So now Pete's kind of in a weird spot. Like, do you wait?
They both take Klamath. Vindian has not seen the Rax that is just chilling right here. I mean, obviously he knows something is close. I don't know if he knows how close. But, you know, the longer you can idle this Japan player who is at this point probably, yeah, he doesn't even have his shrines on wood. He's on, we're gonna hop over here. He's only on 6 shrines right now, and he's having to call his irregulars right now. As the irregulars come out, I think I think at this point Pete is just going to sacrifice his military to get as many villagers as possible. Again, 10 idle villagers for Vindian to get the max TC fire. But again, you know, the biggest thing that Pete is earning from this is time. It prevents the shrine boon from happening.
On the right side, here comes the Nuka, the pincher.
The Nuka Clubman, yeah, these, I think, how many, he probably got, what, 4 vills out of all of that?
Yeah, look at Pete. Yeah, and Pete is
sneaky
right back
Pete.
To home.
Sneaky Pete, look at that. We're going to...
His score just dropped a bit. Can we look at Pete's POV for a second?
Is yes, we can. This? He is not, but he is training and shipping Hussar.
And here come the Hussars. See, now if this barrack stays up before this and gets this batch of crossbow out, Vindian's going to be in a world of trouble.
There's the one batch of crossbow. We'll see.
Missed micro a bit. Wow. But again, not really, because look at that. This might
there
be
we go.
So the Nuka are coming in, but they got separated.
We've got more Nuka clubmen coming in from the back line, and that's a wipe for Vindi for sure at this point. These Hussar are going to, as more Klamath riflemen are being trained, these Hussar are going to be pretty paramount toward, oh my goodness, what is actually going on, Platypus? I don't even know. Somehow Pete has recovered from the depths of what appeared to be death and is actually winning this engagement with the Hussar coming in now that Vindian didn't spot because all his units had died. Now you push again for sure. Yep, good game sense again. You push, you idle, you prevent, do everything you can to prevent Japan from taking off. And Pete is doing a very good job on that. Vindian's still only on 6 shrines right now. Gonna pick up. Nope, it doesn't pick up another
Vill makes it.
But he's gonna get a few of these. Yep. He's gonna get at least one of these villagers, right? I don't. Nope. Still.
But, you know, the
Still
thing
not.
is the longer those vills get injured, it's going to start to take its toll. And that's
Yeah.
something that, again, it's hard to kind of quantify, but eventually, no matter how tricky you are, like, you don't want to be in this spot. Okay, here come the bestiaries. Now this might be kind of a counter push.
That
He needs to
is,
get the Klamath on those bestieros like right now.
and he
He
certainly
calls.
has. Yep.
Oh, but that's expensive. Look at Pete. Good job getting right on top of those crossbows where their multipliers aren't as effective.
Forcing
Um,
the sentry call again from Vindian. Vindian is literally doing everything in his power to try and prevent this rush. I believe that's another batch of, maybe not. We're
okay,
going to go over to Pete's perspective. More musketeers coming out. Pete on 18 villagers.
Klamath. Another pop of them would probably be good. You know,
He's
Vindian, like I said, he bought himself some time, but oh no, but look on the right side of the screen. Look on the right where that stuff's going down. Oh
oh,
no.
massive raids. Oh my goodness, the Nootka Clubman raids coming in. Pete losing his entire food presence, down to 14 villagers. Vindian now up to 26. Still, I think only on 6 shrines. I don't know. Yeah, still only on the 6 shrines, but that is a massive raid by
You know,
Vindian.
France has better vills, but slower to produce vills, so each one hurts so much. And Pete's, you know, hopefully he's not too shaken. But that is a huge, massive Nutka in the corner. You know, at this point, and this is something that a lot of us do, we get kind of paralyzed sometimes when we get, you know, a left hook to the face. And you know, now the Japan eco, which is probably the most hated eco in the entire game for about 15 years now. I am somewhat biased, you know, and I know Japan is not overpowered, but it's just so unfair, it feels like, because despite idling him for the entire time, it just doesn't matter. You know, that's Japan's superpower is, yeah, you did good, but you made a mistake, so now you lose. And you know, we're seeing the power of Japan here. It's got its shrines everywhere. It has these Nuka Clubmen. Here comes a pinch. And, you know, all Pete can try to do is buy time and hope for the best. No, here comes the Nuka Swarm. Uh,
Yeah, this is going to be, unfortunately, a fairly overwhelming mass. Pete's 16 vills, almost being doubled up by Vindian, and good game is called. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a series. Vindian moves on to round 2. Pistol Pete drops to the losers bracket, where he will actually face me. I think that Nuka Clubman raid was the straw that broke the camel's back. Despite idling Vindian for minutes, it seemed, the shrines ended up doing their job, and the Nuka. I mean, it was a battle of the natives. This game was.
yeah, and I think in hindsight, you know, the thing about the Nuka is he probably could have taken it first as France, where the HP would have been more meaningful that he had from Wilderness Warfare. And he could have used it to siege down. You know, he had a really good thing, but again, idling a normal civ in an RTS is a good thing, but against Japan or, you know, even civs like Sweden that have house factories, it's just not as effective, and it can be a real challenge. You really have to pivot the normal mindset that you would have versus a civ, and I think in this case, is it just a demonstration of the power of, you know, Japan, where they can do so many strategies and they can be so powerful if they get going. But, you know, congrats to Vindian for having that play. I mean, that was smart to bring in the Nuka. He played very cleanly. He didn't lose unnecessary vills. And, you know, as Japan, all you have to do is live for about the first 10 minutes, and then you're basically one of the best, if not the best, civ in the game till the very end. So kudos. Um,
We've actually got Pistol Pete in here today. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Pete, you did a fantastic job early on in the game. Just walk us through your thought process, and then obviously the heartbreak at the end there.
Okay, looks like
Yeah,
I have permission to speak.
yeah, yeah.
No, I think I wanted to put early pressure on Japan So I thought kind of like a Muskgerm composition would have been good, and I just kind of view Vindian as like a higher skill level. So I think that strategically you need to kind of throw something unique that might not be as expected as opposed to a typical French build, or kind of same thing last British game with like a typical British build. And I thought a Musk skirm push would have been strong into Ashigaro, because I would have had Musk for siege and the skirms for just picking off the Ashi. But he responded really well. He took the native TPs behind the forward base and then used those to raid my vills. And I'm not really sure exactly how many vills I lost there, but a raid basically looks like it kind of killed my eco. He kind of was able to push me off the one available hunt that I had, and then he shrined the other one on the other side of my base up. So I kind of was pretty constrained in terms of what I could take in resource wise. So
Yeah.
he did a nice job boxing me in there. So I need to improve my 1v1 matchups a little bit. I'm typically a team player, so there's some out of the box strats that you don't think about in 1v1 that can really be challenging to adjust to from a team player.
Well, and we were talking in the cast that you were doing an excellent job of microing. I mean, I think Musk Skirm was the right call. You took the right engagements, you won the right battles, and yeah, in the end, getting this Nuka Clubman raid, I think he ended up getting about 6 of your villagers. I could be wrong. Let's actually tell you exactly how many he got in the post game here. He got, yeah, oh my goodness. It was more than that. 23 down to 14. He got 9 of your villagers. You were pretty even in villager count at that point. So, yeah, that's just really painful.
Yeah, that's bad. And I think Vinny does a great job of using natives on the map, because I usually feel like Japan is usually pretty constrained to one military production building, and then their
at least early game, yeah.
Early game and their diplomacy thing. So cav raids wasn't something that was on my mind type of thing. So I wasn't really looking for raids, but I got native raids instead. So.
And it looks like you, unfortunately for you, Vindi did a very good job, and that is one of Japan's specialties is not getting raided. You may have only picked up 3 villagers at the most, possibly. I don't see really a spot for a 4th one in here, but you only got 3 villagers. You got a whole bunch down to low health, and then they popped into the TC at the last second before you can kill them. So that hurt a little bit too.
Yeah. So I maybe should have like masked up a little bit and pushed in, and then I could have maybe more meaningfully what's it called, idled him.
Yeah,
because the TC fire was doing kind of a lot, so I didn't feel like it could hang around. So
I almost wonder if in hindsight, if you would have gone Musk Clubman, obviously you got to worry about the Yumi presence, but you know, if you would have taken the Clubman first, you could have been able to siege his shrines down quicker, siege down his native TPs, and really, you know, bullied any Naginata play.
we have Vindian in the chat now. Let's bring him in for a live look in. Vindian, it looked a little bit hairy for you in the moment, but you ended up pulling through in the end.
Hey, yeah, I'm babysitting at the moment, but the thing was, yeah, you see, there are 2 important points in this one. Buffalo Pete didn't do that native treatise. I thought he did that. And the second thing, immediately when I saw his army, I researched this Nukta, the thing that improves hit points of villagers. That's one of the reasons why my villager has 225 HP, even though I didn't have great coats on. So that was one thing that I did. And the second thing, which I thought, even though I was losing my fight under my TC, I did have only one. I didn't even build a barracks by the time he's in my base. But I was happy that his villagers are in my line of sight. So that also helped. And
yeah, there's the hunt right there.
So these guys has CDB has ranged resistance, but no melee resistance. So that kind of also played into my role. But yeah, good job to him. I couldn't shrine boom the way that I wanted. I couldn't even build the market. Had only one military building, so it was very clutch. And if you look at the military kills, he has 54 kills, I has 54 kills exactly. So you can see how even the game was. Had he built the second raid post and also did that native treaties, I think it would have been early GG for me.
Well, well played to both players. We look forward to seeing you in the
You know,
tournament.
before you go though, I remember Vindian, the king of hot takes, something about how Japan was trash in
Oh
1v1.
my.
Would you like
Yeah.
to perhaps
Would you
soften your
like to
stance on that?
rescind that comment, Vindi?
Not exactly. See, I just played to the map. I know that Cascade Ranges is a good map, and I had Noctas in my mind. That's the only reason it
Right.
worked. He made natives, I made natives.
Yeah,
Apart
and
from that,
entire eco is idle for about a minute and 20 seconds with no ill effects. But yes, that's
see,
I
I killed 11 of his villagers, but
oh yeah.
still, our both resources were exactly on the same line. You can tell how slow Japan was based on
N-
that.
No, I think that was actually a good example, and I really, Pete, you should have your head up high because like I think like let's be honest here, against Japan, it's so much pressure because Japan is a civ that just takes off if you can't wound it early, and so you made one mistake, but at the same time, like I think you did a great example of how you open into Japan. You kept him on the back foot, you kept him from shrine booming because all of his wood was going into clubmen and defense. So uh, I think that was just to Vindian's credit, he just had a little bit more flexibility in his plan. He was able to pivot, get the clubman, get the few key techs, um, and then that's what made the difference. It wasn't a blowout of skill or anything else. It's just those little things that in a game like Age of Empires 3 that can swing so fast, can push a defeat into victory and then victory into defeat. So also losing 11 vills as France is
Yeah,
never good.
never a good thing because that's more like 14. That's more like 15 or 16 actual vills. Probably more like 15
Yeah,
actual
once
vills with math. So
yeah, once I saw that, I was kind of like, it's GG. So no, it was tough. I tried to, without kind of outbraining myself, I tried to, 'cause, knowing kind of how talented Vindi was, I tried to come into the matchup with kind of a couple of unique strats that perhaps don't see every day, and kind of try to make Vindi respond, and Vindi responded really well. So
If you had to do it
well
again, would
done to
you?
him.
If you had to do it again, would you have picked a different civ or a different strat opening?
On Cascade Range,
Mhm.
I suppose I could have done my normal Russia play into it, and just kind of like overwhelmed him with strutlets and and Musk, or depending on kind of how he opened. So that was another way that I could have taken it, but again, I just kind of felt like Vindy's a talented player, and it's difficult for me to imagine that he didn't have that he's not very experienced in that matchup and hasn't planned for that. So I kind of always wanted to really come into the matchup throwing something new and unique at him, but he responded really well to him. So well deserved.
Well, now you guys have different paths, but no one's eliminated. There's always a chance you guys meet again. I think, Vindy, do you have any final thoughts or comments?
no, I mean the only reason why I could respond on both these maps was, of course, first one was I had luck practicing on that same very map with the same very sieve, but he kept me on the back foot. And second thing, in this one, definitely this is also my strat on this map, doing French and doing native treaties. Like, so I knew what was coming the minute I saw those units. So it was a lucky guess, both things. But yeah, this is huge potential what we are gonna see in the next tourney,
well
keeping
played.
up the pressure. And yeah,
Well played to both players. Uh, thank you guys for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, like and subscribe to the Age of Bison YouTube channel, and we will see you very soon.